Hi, I'm Mandy Lyons and I'm here to talk with you about tension on your long arm machine, specifically the Gamma. Now, I like to check my tension at the beginning of every project, and I also like to check it when I change my thread or change my bobbins, because sometimes things may change a little bit. I like to use a small sandwich on the side of my project, because you know we always have a little extra on the sides. And I like to make swirls and points because I can get a pretty good read on it. Now, when I look at my tension, and this is an example of bad tension, what I expect to see is that it's a tug of war in between the top and the bottom threads, and where those two meet should be in the middle of your quilt sandwich. Now, this is an example of bad tension, and this shows you that the top thread, which looks like a line on the top here, is too tight, and the bottom thread tension is too loose. And that blue right there is the bobbin thread coming up, and the white is my top thread. And you can see in these curves and in this point that the bobbin thread is pulled to the top. Now, if my top thread tension was too loose and my bottom thread tension was too tight, the exact opposite would happen. If I looked on the underside of my quilt, I would see a white thread pulled to the bottom, and you might have heard this term before. I would see pokies on the top or the bottom. Now, to start off with a basic tension setting that I can then tweak, I start off with my bobbin, and I have this set up so that you can see the basic test here for where I have it in my hand, and I'm going to pull the thread up, and you can see that this barely moves out of my hand. That tells me that this is not tight enough. Now I'm going to tighten it. This is too tight. When I pull it, it comes and hangs out of my hand, and it actually leaves the palm of my hand. I know that that is too tight. So just like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, you want the one in the middle. So you want it where it will stand up in your hand vertically and pull. And that is a good starting position for your bottom thread. Now, when I'm adjusting my top tension, there are 3 points here. This is the intermittent tensioner. This is my 3-hole thread guide, and this is my rotary tensioner. Now, when I'm starting from the beginning, I like that my screw in the center screw and the dial are flush here, and same here, because I know that that's a good beginning starting point. I also like to start with my thread coming up through this first hole, coming across and down through this 3rd hole here. When all of these things are established, I know that's a good beginning point. Now, when I do adjustments on the top, if there is a lot to adjust, I will start with my intermittent tensioner first, and I'll do any big adjustments with this one, and I will fine tune with my rotary tensioner. Now remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and that works on both your top tension and your bottom tension. Thanks so much for joining me.